Do you want a foolproof way to get actual backstories from every kind of player that there is? The player that barely gives you anything now will actually give you something to work with. The player that gives you too much lets you be able to focus them in to actually give you the stuff that's useful. Well, I got a solution for you. I was a teacher for 11 years and I am a professional at tricking people into doing things that they kind of don't want to do, in some cases building a backstory. So we're going to break down what this D&D character backstory trick is, how it works for all different types of players, and how you can choose to use this as a dungeon master to implement at your table or in session zeros or whatever. Here we go. So what I do is I give every single player homework. Yes, I purposely use that word from my teaching background, and everyone hates homework, but trust me, if you can pitch this to them in the right way and follow these tips, it won't feel like homework at all. It'll feel more exciting and like help from your players to be able to help them facilitate their backstory. Because what this is a backstory template. I'll show you all the PDF here in a second, and I'll go through all the questions so you can have a big picture of what this is for yourself, because you personally might want to add more questions to your version of this thing you want to give all of your players. And if you do, leave me a comment down below and I might add your question to this PDF to help everybody and make better character backstories. So I send this out to every single player, and this template has 10 different categories that they can fill out if they want to. There's a great DM on TikTok I heard this quote from that says, do this and to the extent in which it is fun for you. So I give them these 10 categories. There's a bunch of questions, and I purposely tell them you don't have to fill out every single thing. Just glaze through it and answer only the things that speak to you. Again, we'll go over it at the end of the video, but that's what I send them. I send them a template of 10 or so categories. They read through it and it might just kind of spark a little bit of creativity, like, oh, maybe that, ooh, maybe this. And if they're going through and nothing's popping out to them, that's fine, but at least it'll hit every single player. And here's what I'm talking about. The player on the low end of backstory creation is someone who's very not interested in creating a character's backstory. Maybe they've never done it before, they've never played a role-playing game before, this is weird, and this whole process of creating a character that could be anything is just weird to them. This is perfect for them to have some sort of like poking the different spots of what could be. So someone who gave you a backstory of my parents died and I'm looking for revenge, and that's all it is, if they read through this, it'll maybe poke some different spots in what could be more deep than that. And on the high end of character backstory creation, where someone's writing a 40-page novel to you and you're gonna really have to, it's just a lot to take in and all that kind of stuff, then you are able to hone them in and focus them on these certain specific things. So they might have some 40-page thing. Go ahead, write that, sure. But if you don't want to read that 40-page thing, or even longer, whatever it is, and they have a whole big, huge picture in their head, these are the most important nuggets that you want them to give you so that you can focus what's actually the most important things out of all of the big story. Also, as a side note there, anytime a player's given me any sort of huge mega backstory like that, I've done the same thing. I've given them this template, they've answered the questions on this template, and that type of player answers every single question on this template. And then I say, anything that this template did not address, give me a bullet point list of some key points there. Let's go. Or just kick back and read the whole thing. But ever since using this template, I have had zero problems with backstories. I have created entire campaigns around my characters' backstories, and I came to the table with nothing. Then after we did this backstory template thing, I was able to create an entire campaign purely around their backstories. Crazy method. I have a whole video explaining how I did that. I'll link that down in the description. And then there's also the backstories where you actually have a campaign or a module you're running and you want to plug those backstories into it. It works for everything. Timeout. We've been talking about this template, but I want to now show you this template, and this is a resource that me and my team have heavily made for you guys that's going to be available down in the link down in the description. But I'm also going to go through this thing because I want to try and help you guys with your backstories as for free in this YouTube video. Awesome, cool. I really do hope this helps your backstory creation. You're going to be able to add your own questions to it, write down these questions, think of your own, whatever it is you want to do. But if you want a lot of that work done for you to go the next one step further than that, then the link to the PDF is available down in the description. Whenever you download it, you get the PDF that you have full access to everything. It has little spots. You could print it out, and that's what I do if it's in person and you want to do this backstory creation in person, which we'll talk about that here in a second too. But they can actually write out in the little spots to the right of it, and they can fill it out themselves and then hand it back to you. Awesome, great. Or if you're digital, you can send it to them and it's a form fillable PDF, and they can type in those actual boxes too. That's my goal here with the YouTube videos, to help you do your thing, and then with these PDFs to help you go the extra mile further. And it's a super cheap PDF that's on sale right now during the month that I post this. Every time I make a video and I talk about a PDF, that PDF is on sale for that month that it makes the video, and then it goes off. I really do appreciate everybody jumping on the videos early on to try and level them up and help the algorithm and stuff. So anyway, let's actually look now at how I use this PDF in my games and then what's actually in the PDF. Okay, so before the rundown, how I've used this in the past before, I'm about to start a Curse of Strahd campaign very, very soon. We'll talk about that at the end of the video. But very soon I'm going to start a Curse of Strahd campaign, and we're about a month and a half out from starting it. I sent this as an email to all my players. Okay, cool. Let me know what you think. And then they are going to respond back with a bullet point list of anything that spoke to them. They do not have to fill out everything. That's the huge, huge key points. And then whenever I get that email, I go through it, and those are the most important nuggets of information. And there we go. I will say if a player does not give me a goal of some kind, I will definitely circle back to that and be like, okay, we need to get you a goal. Or I've also done this where we had this happen as a group activity in a session 0, where I had this PDF in front of me. I passed it out to everybody, paper versions of this thing, and we kind of read through it, and we wanted to have everyone kind of build this together and kind of talk about, you could keep it a secret if you want, you could share if you want. And we had like a really cool, maybe it was like half an hour, 20 minutes, where we went around the table and answered all these questions. People were able to start riffing off each other about, ooh, that's a cool idea, I want to be from your town. And it was really cool. So now let's actually get into this PDF and go through what these 10 categories are and the different things in it. So category 1 are goals. This is the driving force of your character, and that's pure and simple the first thing. What is your character's goals? Short-term goals, long-term goals, eventual goals, whatever. And that's also a disclaimer here, is that each one of these little categories, I'm going to be showing and giving you the overall concepts of it, but each of these categories have a small little paragraph to help people be like, this is kind of what the example is. So I guess an example is for the goals is, what do you want? What are your immediate goals? Do you have long-term goals? What are you trying to accomplish and progress towards? Why are these things important to your character? Why does your character want to, or maybe has to, leave their current life to become an adventurer? So on top of all those questions to help poke that player into finding a goal, there's also little paragraphs in the PDF that actually explain further and kind of can help guide especially new players towards that backstory. Second categories fit under the umbrella of just a overall backstory is birthplace. Where were you born from? Then friends and family. Who are your friends? What close acquaintances did you have before right now? Or like right now, whenever the campaign starts technically, who do you have? Who do you have in the past maybe that used to be alive from your friends or family? I'm trying to get them to tell me loved ones so I can go kill their loved ones. I'm just kidding, probably not, but maybe I do. The next thing is past details, little things about their past. An example here is, do you have a connection or know any of the other party members already? How do you meet? What have you done together? That's also what I'm trying to do here, is poke the players together, because we all know when you start a campaign, it's weird with different players and they like have to play together, but then their characters don't know each other, but then maybe they kind of do know each other, and there's different little cool things you can do to kind of poke them towards each other, whether they already knew each other or how they met. The next things goes into their persona, is what I call this. Ideals, bonds, flaws, and then traits, which are little quirky type things. So ideals is, what do you love? What do you hate? What do you fear? That's really simple. Bonds is like, what things do you respect out there in the world, where if someone else did that, and that maybe that you love animals, and if somebody else loved animals, they're going to have a really strong bond with them. Flaws, what does your character have that's a flaw? And a big asterisk is, how are they going to eventually overcome that flaw? And that's usually something I would challenge players, is if they not have just some flaw that's just a flaw and then that kind of sucks. And give them a flaw and have everyone else, this is a great time to talk at the table of, if you want to have a character flaw, if somebody's a tool at the table or a jerk and their character's a jerk, there's a whole nother topic on a video, but have that arc of the character not becoming a jerk, and then maybe that's a whole nother can of worms there. But flaws are huge. Then traits, are you heroic? Are you merciful? What abilities do you have confidence in that you maybe aren't actually good at? What adjectives would you describe your character with? Does your character have a certain catchphrase that they say in combat or to certain people? These are just quirky little things. And the last two big categories here are your class, which is a huge element of your character. Why are you this class? What do you call yourself? I know you chose sorcerer, but does your character call themselves a sorcerer, or are they a moon weaver? And if they are a moon weaver and they cast light, what does that look like? Does the little balls of light look like moons, and it actually looks like moons circling around you? Like, what is the flavor and visuals of your character, and how can you make that character so much more flavorful just by the descriptions of how their class is compared to another person of that class? And the last one is plot holes. I love to have and challenge and just extend the offer out for there to be a plot hole in your backstory. Something that happened in your backstory that you just can't figure out. You never knew. There was a person that was following you for a while back when you were a kid, and then it stopped. You haven't seen this person since. You went exploring into a cave and you found a necklace and you wear it all the time, and maybe some weird stuff's happening, and you can kind of describe some things, and then but be ready with the dungeon master to have some wiggle room there of him like, oh, maybe this happens, maybe that happens. happens. I can't tell you how many times, because I'm about to start the Curse of Strahd thing, and some players have actually done this, and I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. What about this? Okay, great. And now that plot hole ties directly into the main campaign. What other questions would you ask your players? The comment down below, and I really will maybe make a little resource here and give you a little credit in the PDF. And also, whenever I do, the link down in the description for the PDF available on my website. Anytime I do make an update, I send it out to everyone who's already purchased it. Again, like, so if you buy it once, you've bought it for forever, and every issue that I ever do of this backstory thing, you will always get an updated version of. And if you're interested in watching me play Dungeons and Dragons, I'm doing the first ever videos of myself and my group playing. We are trialing it out here before I start doing streaming. We're going to do this campaign not streamed, and then maybe the next one we stream. We'll see how it goes. I got a lot of stuff to set up, but if you're interested in that at all, I'm going to be doing this video only for my patrons, because right now it is not going to be a super production value, professional quality like the other shows that are out there, to where I don't have the resources right now. I don't have a bunch of cameras. I don't have enough video editors to be able to get all the stuff done with all the bells and whistles that I'd want to be able to post it like this on YouTube. So I'm only going to show my patrons that video, and we'll see. And the trial run will be with my patrons. I appreciate that as another thank you for it. None of this would be possible. I couldn't even think about streaming this if it wasn't for my patrons. So thank you to my patrons, and I will have those videos available for them. And then in the future, we will see how that whole thing goes, and we'll bring it over to the big YouTube thing, maybe even stream it. We'll see. So the link for the Patreon's down in the description, along with the website PDF. And until next time, stay creative, think outside the box. Peace.